Okay to be tired, but it's not okay to give up.
Exactly.
Wake up at 5 a.m. You don't want to go training. You do it anyway.
I'll be super honest. I started because I was fat.
I think it's more like who is strongest.
Exactly. And that's actually something that wrestlers develop throughout the years. They are super strong human beings. If a wrestler gets a hold of you,
You're dead.
you're most likely going to die.
Would you train your son to do fighting sports?
Of course.
You would.
Of course.
Yes.
Since he would be 5 or something.
Since he can walk.
Yes. It's actually funny because I got knocked out in my first fight, and it's because I didn't really feel fear. I didn't really feel, of course I was nervous. Everyone is super nervous, but actually that got the worst out of me. I've been here before. I'm familiar to this feeling. I know that I felt fear before, and I was able to overcome it. If I'm dancing in a ring.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Black and White podcast. Today we're going to talk a lot about MMA and the sports and the whole mindset and just the sport itself. And today I have my trainer here, Hunor. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Hunor Sege. I've been in Denmark for about 10 years now, and I've been practicing sports since I was a kid. Mostly combat sports, but I did also around 4 years of swimming. Prior to that, that was actually the first sport I started with, swimming. After I swam for 4 years, I started combat sports. I started in the beginning with freestyle wrestling for 2-3 years, after which I switched to karate and kickboxing, which I practiced both at the same time for about 4 years, and later, of course, Muay Thai. But sport has been in my life since I was around 8 years old, 8 years old, and I'm 29 now, so close to, or a little over 20 years of doing sports right now.
How did you see the sport in you when you were that young? Why did you start doing sport? Because when I was a kid, that was the last thing I wanted to when I was a kid.
I'll be super honest. I started because I was fat. So when I was skinny when I was very, very young, a small kid. But then I got fat when I was around 6. And basically I was being bullied at school for being chubby. And I really didn't like that. So actually...
No, of course not.
No, so that's actually the reason why I started swimming, to lose weight. Swimming helped me lose that weight, but it always felt that something was missing.
Yeah.
I needed something more.
Yeah, more you wanted to conquer.
Exactly.
The mindset of conquer.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And then I always appreciated people who were involved in combat sports, because I always had the feeling that it takes something extra.
Yeah, automatically respect to them.
Exactly, and not only the respect, but I always looked at them as very disciplined people, if that makes sense. And I wanted to imitate that discipline. I wanted to introduce that discipline to my life as well. So basically, that's what got me into combat sports.
Also, the discipline, people who go, people who do MMA, also in their spare time are more if it's a man, also a woman, also more disciplined with simple stuff,
yes,
maybe the most simple stuff, cleaning the house, being nice to people, also the very disciplined thing. You learn that with MMA, because you do something you don't want to, you don't...
Definitely.
If you wake up at 5 a.m., you don't want to go training, you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And when you learn that to do stuff you don't want to, then you get disciplined in your mind also.
Yes, I completely agree. So MMA is mixed martial arts, right?
Because the club we train in is called MMA and Thai.
That's correct, actually. That's correct. But personally, I don't train anything that involves ground at the moment. And I always had the idea that MMA is multiple sports combined into one, which it is actually, because usually people who practice MMA or who want to fight in MMA, they have to practice at least 2-3 different sports. So we have Muay Thai, for example, what we're training at, so as you call it, Thai boxing. That's what we train at our club. I'm a huge fan of Muay Thai, and I'm in general a huge fan of stand-up, of striking martial arts, if that makes sense. But then we have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, which is next door to us, to our club.
Yes.
And so sorry, what was the question?
Why Thai boxing? Why MMA?
Yes. So it's, as I said, I'm a huge fan of striking, of stand-up martial arts, one-to-one combat,
Yes.
and that's actually why.
Also, I feel like I wouldn't go like wrestling. Wrestling is more like hugging each other, right, and going on the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, I started actually with wrestling, and I have to say, hats off to all the wrestlers in this world. I think wrestling is a super tough sport. I think it's very difficult. But I always felt that I'm missing something.
Yeah.
I was missing something. As you said, it's a lot of hugging, a lot of grabbing, but
Yeah, you want to do more technique.
exactly, there are no punches involved, right? There's no
Wrestling is more like who is strongest.
exactly, and that's actually something that wrestlers develop throughout the years. They are super strong human beings. So I would not, even with all my, striking knowledge and so on, I would definitely not want to fight a wrestler on purpose,
No.
because of course we as strikers we can fight from our feet, but if a wrestler gets a hold of you,
You're dead.
you're most likely going to die, because if they can grab a hold of you and slam you into the ground, then it's pretty much
It's
over
over.
from there.
Yeah.
You cannot. And of course, it's not only about them getting you on the ground, but they are so good at holding you there that you can just not fight back, and they will out strengthen you because they are super strong. So it will be impossible to take them off you and to do anything from there. So
I also like the thing about being strongest or technique. Like who's best at technique? The other guy in MMA or Thai boxing can be stronger than you, but you can still win. I had a
Yes.
friend. He was 18 years old. He was fighting a 14-year-old because they were same weight.
Yeah.
But he lost so quick. Like 30 seconds, he lost.
Yeah.
Also because he was better at technique. He went to, I think it was somewhere in Thailand. He went and trained.
Yeah.
Why is it called Thai boxing? Just because it's from Thailand?
Yeah, so Muay Thai originates from Thailand. Yes, it's so in general, most martial arts originate from Asia, from that part of the world, and then from different countries, right? So we have karate, which originates from Japan. In the same time, we have Muay Thai, which originates from Thailand, and the difference between Muay Thai and the rest of the striking martial arts is that, in my opinion, and I don't think it's only my opinion, but yeah, Muay Thai is the one that's the closest to reality. It's the one that brings the most elements into the game, because you have elbows as well. So, for example, karate, a lot of the karate martial arts, because I say a lot of because there's quite a lot of them. So you have kung fu, you have ashihara, you have kyokushin, you have Shotokan. There's multiple karate martial arts, but they are very limited in terms of the power you can strike with, the techniques that you're using, and I think it's in for a lot of them, it's difficult to apply them in real life situations.
Yes.
And that's where Muay Thai becomes very relevant, because everything you learn in Muay Thai you can use in a real life situation.
Yes.
So
But also, like street fights are very different to MMA fights, because
That's
there's
true.
rules in MMA fights. There's no rules in street fights.
correct.
Also, if you do MMA and it says on your paper you do MMA, you're getting like, I think it's a big tax or what's it called? Like you need to pay a lot of money, or you go to jail maybe even.
Yeah.
But just because you go to MMA. Even if the guy he started fighting and it's so unfair for you, you're just defending yourself, you still get a lot of hate from it.
And I think, I personally don't agree with these kind of laws.
No,
And-
not
and-
me either.
I want to state also, I'm not a violent person at all. I'm actually against violence between human beings, especially unnecessary violence.
Also, there's a lot of people who don't do MMA that think like people who do MMA, they're like some psychos, they're
Yes.
crazy in their head. But actually, the people who do MMA are sometimes some of the most sweetest people on earth.
Yes, and that comes down again to what we talked about before, the discipline. Usually people who practice MMA or any kind of combat sports are in general very disciplined people. So you, of course there are exceptions,
Yeah.
but in general they're
Always.
not the ones who start, a fight, or who like you said, you can find yourself in a situation where you have to defend yourself, and then of course you'll use your skills and your knowledge to do that. I don't think you should be jailed for it, and I don't think your punishment should be higher just because you're training.
No,
because,
of course not.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because in the end of the day, it's a free world. Everyone's free to choose.
And you don't know what can happen to you.
Exactly.
The thing about MMA being in a ring in a street fight, often you're like drunk in a street fight or something like that. But when you're in an MMA fight, you're not drunk or not on any drugs or something.
Yeah.
So when you did your first fight, like what did you do to like calm yourself down and not panic? Like what were you thinking about?
It's actually funny because I got knocked out in my first fight, and it's because I didn't really feel fear. I didn't really feel, of course I was nervous. Everyone is super nervous, but actually that got the worst out of me. So Mike Tyson says that, a man who says they don't feel fear when they fight is a liar, because actually fear is what made him the greatest boxer.
Because when you're like scared of losing, you don't want to lose.
Exactly.
Either that, or you just need to go crazy in your head. Just need to like say to yourself, "I need to fuck him up. I need to use all my skills that I've learned."
Yep.
Or either you just need to fear it so much that you can't lose.
Yes, but to me, for example, or at least for me, in my first fight, it got the worst out of me because my parents were there, my ex-girlfriend was there, and I wanted to impress everyone.
Yeah, of course.
I just moved from freestyle wrestling to practicing, because I'm talking about my first kickboxing fight. I'm not talking about my first wrestling fight, because wrestling fights are very different, right? You cannot really get hurt. The worst that can happen to you is that the guy will submit you. Basically,
or like choke you so much.
Yeah, so the rules in wrestling are that, if someone can hold your back on the ground for around 3 seconds, and you're not able to get out of that position, then you lose. So that's basically the worst thing that can happen to you. And if that's not going to happen to you, the other way to lose is to, lose the rounds. So I think it was at 6-0 that you lost a round. So that was the worst that could happen. If someone did something to you, made 6 points, round's over, then the second round starts, same thing happens again, and you lost the fight.
Yeah.
But in kickboxing, it's different because you're in a ring. And in karate as well, I practiced all. I've been in some karate fights, and a lot of people find this funny. But personally, for me, the karate fights hurt more than the kickboxing fights, because the karate style I practiced is Ashihara, which is a full contact karate fight style, and basically everything was allowed except for punches to the head, because we fought, without any kind of gloves. So, but punches to the chest, to the liver, to anywhere else were allowed. Kicks to the head were allowed. Knees to the head were allowed. Everything except for elbows and punches to the face.
Karate is also like more like this, right? Like instead of this.
No, we were using punches.
You also use punches. Yes. Oh yeah.
But it comes down to the styles again, because and that's why I said earlier that there's so many different styles today that it's. I think that's the reason why karate is not taken super seriously in general around the world, because of course the ones who practice it take it seriously, and the ones who know it take it seriously.
Yeah, we're very good at it. Yeah. I also ran karate, and I was there for like 3 days, and I was just thinking, I was also missing something, but I just stopped, and then years later now I go MMA, Thai boxing, and also would you say like everyone can do Thai boxing? Everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what mindset you have. If you want to, you can go do it, right?
Yeah, that's true. So going back to my first fight, I still remember my parents being there, my ex-girlfriend being there. I was super excited. I just wanted to win. I just wanted to, make a show, because it was the first time when I saw such an audience as well around, right? So and that got the worst out of me, because I remember even up to this day, the last thing my coach said to me before the fight started was, just calm down. He's much more experienced than you are. I was training for a month before.
That's not a good thing to say if you have to calm down.
Yeah, I had been training for a month before that fight. So I only started the sport.
Can you do that? Like the trainer said, you're ready?
No, he didn't. I thought I was ready. I was the one who asked him to fight because I wanted to fight. I knew that the card was there. I
And he
knew that there's
just
an
went,
option.
okay.
Yeah, he said, fine, let's do it.
That's
Because he
also a way
believed in me.
that's also a way maybe to learn your lesson. Like you
Yes.
need to be more prepared next
Of
time.
course, of course.
What did
That's-
your parents say that you just started doing so many fight sports? Like how did they feel about it?
Of course, my mom was not the happiest, but she always wished that I would start dancing. But I always kept telling her that I hope you know that that's not gonna happen.
I'm not going to dance.
No, if I'm dancing in a ring. You know, not with a partner. So
Mm.
of course they weren't. My dad didn't have a problem with it, but my mom was not the happiest. But in the same time, it helped me a lot. For example, to focus on school as well. While I was practicing the sport, it's because back home you have to pay. They're just like here, right? You have to pay to practice a sport. Wrestling was free; it was free from the state. But any other combat sports you have to pay for. So basically, that was the agreement between me and my parents. So if I got good grades in school, they would pay for the sport I want to practice, and that's how we kept this in an agreement throughout the years, right? So I always made sure I got good grades, and one of my big motivation was that then they would pay for my training.
You don't do fights anymore. Now you're just a trainer, right?
I still want to fight.
You
I
still
still
want
want to fight. I actually signed up for a fight in February. I was supposed to fight in Esbjerg when some of the other guys were fighting as well.
Mm.
But it just happened to be not the best moment for me, and I felt that I cannot prepare myself to the best of my abilities, and that's why I decided to stop the fight camp and not fight eventually. But I would still like to have at least a couple of fights.
Yeah, so just a couple more in
Yeah,
the future,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But when you do Thai boxing training, you train the other guys. Also, it's a very like tough just training. It's very tough, and you're going to sweat a lot, and it's going like. How do you know when it's like enough? Because sometimes when we do push-ups, we say count to 10, and then we count to 20, or people are not prepared to now. They think that we're going to take 10 push-ups, but we do 50.
Yeah.
How do you like know when you're not training? You're just looking at them and telling them what to do. How do you know when enough is enough?
So I'm a big believer of practice what you preach. So I think I know the limits because I've been through them myself. And if I learn something from the sport is that everything is up here. The only limit is your mind. Tyson Fury actually said before one of his fights that, and he was in a plank and shaking. There's actually a YouTube video of him. He's sitting in a plank, shaking.
Just shaking.
And, yeah, and he just keeps saying, "It's all up here. It's all up here. Everything is in your mind. Your body is breaking, but the body doesn't have a sensor to say stop. It's actually your brain that tells you to stop. So if you learn,
Exactly, that's true.
if you learn to be in control of your brain and of your emotions, you can beat that.
Also,
anytime.
that's the only thing you can control. You can
Yes.
control your mind to move your hand. Like
Yes.
that's the only thing. So if you control your mind, you control everything else in your body. And that's the only thing you can control. But it's
Exactly.
hard to learn. Like you need to
Yes.
been through a lot. You need to fail a lot
Yes.
to learn also.
And that's why I find it super important that people go through these drills when we have trainings, right? Because, of course, some will give up and some will learn that they can actually do more. So it's actually nice to see people going, through more and more and achieving more and more with each training. It's actually one of the pleasures of training people to see that they are evolving and they are
yes.
taking it further.
Also, when when I went to the last training we had, there was something where we had to do like 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 jumping jacks, and also plank and stuff. It was 4, and we had to do 5 times.
Yeah.
But I didn't listen in the beginning, so I thought it was the end of the training. I thought, okay, we only have to do 1 time. And then when it was second time, I was like, okay, it's hard, but second time doesn't hurt. Then it was third time, fourth time, and then fifth time. And at fifth time, I was almost there.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think about. In the beginning, I was like, okay, only 1 time. But it was hard, and I can't do more than 1 time. Yeah. But I could do 5 times, and I didn't believe that until it was done.
And that's why we have the power rounds in the end of the trainings, right? Because we could have them in the beginning. One could argue that you have more power in the beginning, you have more energy in the beginning of the training, right? Then in the end. But that's what actually the power rounds are for, to show you that even though you have trained for more than an hour and you're tired, you can still produce more. You can still have some output in terms of power and strength, right? And you can still do more. It's all up here.
Yeah, it's okay to be tired, but it's not okay to give up.
Exactly.
That's what you always say. And also, there's other trainer, Shino. He teaches a lot about the whole mindset thing, and he says it like, it's all up here. You can do much more, and that's just an energy boost for me personally.
Yeah.
Because then I can do more and I can show more, and I want to make him proud of me because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was doing in the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you can see it on yourself as well. The learning curve, right? The way we were when you started and the way you are growing since you started the sport, right? And I think it was a good growth.
Yeah, I remember in the beginning I couldn't kick.
Yeah.
I couldn't do a single kick, and I didn't know how to punch. I was like punching up in the wall and not straight, and it was awful.
So I guess it's fun for you to see as well, and I think it's not just fun, but it actually gives something to you. It makes you feel in a certain way. The fact that you have these little achievements, training by training, you keep evolving, training by training.
Yes, of course. Also, Shino has it on Wednesday and you have it on Monday. But then there was one time you guys changed. And I saw that because I feel like Shino is more like a screaming guy. He's just screaming at others and just really hard on them. And you're also hard on them, but in your voice you're more soft when you do training. Yeah. I saw the faces of people when they see Shino come in, because some people only come when you come, and some people only come when Shino comes. Why do you think that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think, each person is different, and each person should be different from, the other. So of course we have different styles. And I think Shino's style is a great style, to be honest. The reason why I'm not the screaming kind of guy, if you want, it's because I always feel that I can learn more, and I always feel like I can grow more.
So it's just to not be like maybe arrogant, or if you can use that word, because you still want to learn more.
Yes.
You don't want to like say that I know everything.
Yes,
you
exactly. I think in this sport, you're learning until the day you die. So there will always be someone who's better than you. There will always be someone who works harder. I was saying that when it comes to people's preference in terms of trainers, I think what drives them to choose, if you want, between Shino or myself or other trainers is what gets them motivated. So there are people who can be super motivated by Shino's style, for example. As you said, a little bit more screaming. Come train, it's not Instagram, and all that.
No Netflix and chill.
Exactly. And then some people can be more motivated by, someone who's, like you said, I'm a little bit softer in the voice, and that can also motivate some people in certain ways. So I think I
feel like you both, like, it's a very good duo. Like, I feel like I need you and I need Shino. Like, you're very different at training, but I need them both.
Yeah.
Because it's nice to have the guy who just talks a lot about motivation and discipline, but also you that just a little bit softer and just here to learn, like want to like come to you and just tell you in a soft way also. But sometimes it's good to get screamed at or yelled at.
Yes.
Sometimes that's good too.
Yeah. I have a certain issue with personal trainers these days, nowadays, because I feel like there's a lot of people in this world who are taking a course and all of a sudden they feel like they have the right to teach others.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is that being a trainer is not only about learning a certain movement and teaching others how to do the same movement, right? Being a coach involves a lot more than that. So I always said that, in my opinion, the best trainers are the ones who have practiced a certain sport for years, because they have gone through training for years and they've grown the discipline that comes from training and from practicing the sport for years. And it's not something that you just take a course and. Also,
then the different stages you have been in when you do training. If
Yeah.
you did it for 5 years, you know the times when it went bad, the times it was confusing.
Exactly.
So it can only be good times.
Yes.
You also need to understand the other people that you're training,
Exactly.
what they go through, to like
Exactly.
teach them how to do it.
Exactly. So, for example, freestyle wrestling, even though, yes, I've trained it for 3 years, I personally feel like you training something for 3 years is not good enough. It doesn't it doesn't give you the right to teach others, because there are people who have practiced the sport for 20, 30, 40 years before they became trainers, right? So
Would you train your son to do fighting sports?
of course,
You would.
of course,
Yes.
since he would be, 5 or something.
Since he can walk.
Yes, yes, pretty much.
I also feel like it's a very good thing for especially men to learn about
Yes.
boxing or Thai
Yes.
boxing, just the fighting sports to protect themselves or others
I
they
agree.
love.
I completely agree.
In this world, I feel like it's getting more and more crazy. Like I see the news with 14-year-olds killing 15-year-olds, and
Yes,
nowadays you just don't know what can happen.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's a good way to protect yourself.
I always said that, in my opinion, every man in this world should try to take a fight at some point in their life. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 15 or 55 or 70. You can at any point challenge yourself and take a fight. And the reason why I say that is because taking a fight changes you in certain ways, and you cannot really replicate that anywhere else.
It's
right?
no longer La La Land.
No. So there's the fact that you are standing and doing hand-to-hand combat, and it's just you and the guy in front of you, and you literally have to, compare your abilities and edge it out and make sure you're better. That does something to you. It triggers some kind of emotions in you, and all the preparation that leads up to the fight is what changes you even more, because it keeps you very disciplined. When you take a fight, you have to be running, you have to eat right, you have to hit pads, you have to do sparrings, there's so many things that are involved. You have to do sprints. There's so many things that are involved in a fight that I think it's basically like going to the army, if you want,
Yeah.
but in a much shorter period, right?
I agree. Also, the thing about you have to do something because of something makes you want to do it more. Like if I just had to go training to like just go training because yeah, it's healthy, you need to eat right. But if I know there's something in the end,
Yes.
then you're more disciplined. Also, me personally, every time I do something like I don't want to, I also have to give myself a little gift or a little cookie that why should I do this? Also, if it's not because of a fight, then maybe just because I want to look good, I want to get girls, I want to like something like that. Also, I want people to respect me. So that you need to think about the goal, not just you doing it, but the goal.
Exactly.
Also, Mike Tyson says instead of thinking like what other people look like or you want to be like this guy, just every day you go, just think of yourself yesterday
Yes.
and make yourself better today. Just a little bit, just a little bit better today.
Exactly.
Why that instead of saying, oh, I want to be like Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
Instead of that, just thinking like, I want to be better than yesterday.
Exactly. And actually, I don't know if you remember, but I say this almost before every single training. I always say in the beginning of the training, first I state the rules and then I say, please respect each other, because personally I think respect between people is very important. You cannot expect respect from others if you don't show respect to others. I think we should respect in general everyone around us. And then I always say, we are here to better ourselves. We are here to become better at what we're doing. So
and everyone is doing the same thing.
Yes.
So that's why no one judges anyone, because we all are there for the same thing.
Exactly.
And that doesn't even matter if it's like a fighting sport or if it's about getting drunk or if it's about winning a game in Fortnite.
Yeah.
We all are there for the same thing. And that's why it's respect.
Yes.
But also you want to be yourself. You want to be the greatest. And one thing I've learned through these maybe 4 or 3 months at the Thai boxing club is that I'm not scared of failing anymore, like in the club. Because in the beginning, when some of the trainers, you or Sino, were saying like, I need someone to count 10 push-ups, I didn't want to count because I was scared of like me losing my breath and not and not screaming the number so everyone could hear it. So it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But then one time I tried it, and yeah, I was losing my breath, but not that much, and people weren't judging me. And
Yeah.
also after the training, people said, "Oh, you know it well. You know how to do the things," and
Yeah.
I respect that. And then I wasn't like scared of failing anymore, because that's just where you learn and
Yes.
you become more confident. It's
And-
about failing.
Yes, and see, even though, like you said, it's not a long time that you've practiced this, and you're already reaping the fruits of it, right? So you already see certain ways in which this changes, the sport changes you, and it's in a very good way, right? As you said, the fear of failing, that's something that you experienced during the training, but I'm pretty sure you will experience it throughout life in general, and then you will always go back to that training and remember, okay, I've been here before. I'm familiar to this feeling. I know that I felt fear before, and I was able to overcome it.
Yes.
So
It's not taking over for the rest of your life just because you failed once.
exactly. So that's already a very good thing that you learned. The fact that, okay, I can overcome certain challenges if I set my mind to do so.
Yeah, if I just stop fearing so much.
Exactly.
And also you can start fearing it at the beginning, being scared of it, but also when you then learn to not fear it, that's when you learn also.
Yes.
Also because when you're fearing, that's when your real self is showing. Like if you go to have you seen the movie American Psycho?
I don't think so.
It's a movie about a guy who basically kills people, and he's psycho in the head. He says also when you're scared and you kill people and stuff, that's when they show them real self. I think that's very scary to think about, because when you're in a fight, you're not yourself. You're not thinking about all the other people's looking. You're just thinking it's about surviving.
Yeah.
Also, if I have a girlfriend and she was watching my fight, if I lose, then I can think about, okay, she thinks that the guy who just beat me up, he's more man than me, he's better than me, and that's just the worst fear, right?
Yeah.
What did your girlfriend say to you, like when you lost the first fight? Like, what was she like? Oh, you get it next time, or?
Yeah. Both my parents, I mean, of course, my mom didn't want to see me fight again, but my friends and my ex-girlfriend at the time, they knew who I was. They knew what made me the person I was and I am, and they knew I would just bounce back and get it back. Losing a fight doesn't make you less of a man than the guy who beat you.
No.
It just means that on the day of the fight, that person happened to be better than you. That's
maybe he had a better day than you.
Exactly. But the most important thing is to show up.
Yes.
That's the most
just
important
show up
thing.
and think about what you're
Exactly.
failing at, and think about what you're good at.
Yes, and that's the most important thing, basically. Show up and because whether you win or lose, that's just a result.
Yes.
In the end of the day, the fact that you are able to make the walk to the ring and show up in the ring, that's the real win. In
Also,
this situation.
everyone have lost their fight once.
For sure.
Everyone,
Yes.
and that's just a way of learning. You're not less of a man. People need to think about that.
Exactly.
Because maybe you just have a longer way to go. Maybe he was before you.
Exactly.
Also, my mom wasn't very happy about me going to Thai boxing. I also tell her that I want to go to fight, but she still came to see me, and she still watched me do the thing. And I also feel like, even though at the time I didn't even have a job and I didn't even go to school, and before I went to the Thai boxing, they were kind of like disappointed at me because I was only going with friends. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
But then I started in fitness like 4 months ago, and then I started Thai boxing. And I feel like after I started Thai boxing, even though I don't do anything,
I'm also sure that they can also see the changes in you, and they see that the sport makes you more disciplined, and I think they respect that more than anything.
they do. They definitely do. But also, my mom doesn't want to see me fight. Obviously, they don't want to see their son get hurt. Or...
But that's normal. That's just normal. My mom was there for that one fight, and she's never been to any of my other fights. but she has seen the worst, right? As I mentioned, I got knocked out in that fight.
If you won, maybe she will come to the next, but if you lose, then she doesn't come.
Yes. So you never know, but I think that's just how moms are.
Yeah, because my dad wants to see me in a fight, but my mom doesn't.
Exactly, but
my dad is crazy. He just wants me to knock people out and stuff in fight.
Yes, I think it's the same as, you know, you mentioned earlier that you have this survival instinct that triggers when you're fighting. I think it's the same for moms when it's anything about their kids, right? There are insane clips of moms doing insane things when the life of their child is in danger. I think there's a video of a mom almost lifting a car because her child was stuck under that car, and then
the love for moms, it's deep love. It will never change.
It will never change, and that's why, of course, they don't want you to be in a fight, and moms don't want to see you in a fight, because they know that a lot of bad things can happen in a fight. You know, I also feel like sometimes people don't acknowledge the seriousness of a fight and how many bad things can happen in a fight.
Yeah.
There's a case of a boxer. I think it happened in 2015 or so. There's I think Mexican boxer who was fighting, and he got punched in the back of his head a couple of times. He left the ring on his own feet. He went to the locker room. He felt so sick that he had to go to the hospital.
Stop the fight.
No, he lost the fight on points. No, actually, sorry. They interrupted the fight. His coaches kept telling the referee that he's getting punched in the back of his head. You're not allowed to do that. That's actually against the rules. You're not allowed to punch you in the back of the head. So eventually they stopped the fight. He left the ring on his own feet. He's been in a wheelchair since 2015, and he's half paralyzed.
That's also a thing that I think about. Like, do I really want to go to a fight? Because if I get hurt and injured, that wouldn't be worth it. Like, if I go and I need to sit in a wheelchair or I get brain damage, like, then I would regret it so much.
Yeah, of course. But fights are, you know, a very controlled environment. There's a reason why there's a referee there. There's a reason why we have rules. There's a reason why we have rounds. There's a reason why there's break between the rounds, right? It's a very controlled environment. It should be a safe environment. So in general, things like these shouldn't happen, right?
No.
So
that was just an unlucky time, or very rare thing that happened.
Yeah. But it can happen. And people need to acknowledge that when you go into a fight, you need to take it seriously. You need to prepare, and you need to show up, and you need to be fully there. You cannot think of anything else when you're in a fight.
What about the guy who broke the rules, punching him in the head? What happened to him?
I have no idea, to be honest. I think the biggest punishment for him is knowing that he did this to another man, right?
Also, I agree 100%.
Personally, I would think about it until the rest of my days, that I had to, you know, I put someone in a wheelchair and
and you broke the rules.
Yeah, and you destroyed someone's life, basically.
Yeah.
You destroyed someone's life, and you have to live with that thought for the rest of your life. And I think that's the biggest punishment.
I also saw a film on Netflix. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a guy who, I think almost world champion. But then he got in a car accident, and he was not even only in a wheelchair, but also things on his head, could move his head, like. Also, and the doctors told him to, like, you can't ever go in a fight, maybe not even walk again. But he maybe took a 2-month break, and then he started training a little bit in his basement, and he was fresh. After that, and he got a fight, he won, and now he's full body again. He can walk totally fine, no damage at all. And that just also shows that even what people are saying to you, even if they know a lot, don't listen to them if you feel like what you're doing is the right thing. Because even the doctors, they can look at you and say you will never be able to walk again. Yeah. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you can still walk, but you just need to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And that's also a thing that MMA teaches me. Not only about, like, Thai boxing and the stuff like that, but also maybe even doing a podcast. If I believe I can do it,
Exactly.
and I just need to get better and better.
And the reason why I said earlier that, you know, I think every man should take a fight in their life, it's because when you think about it, life itself, life in itself is a fight. Life is almost the same as a fight. You are in a constant fight throughout life, right? Life has highs and lows. There are moments when you feel super happy. There are moments when you feel bad or sad. Or so the life cannot be just one straight line. You have always ups and downs, and it's the
Yes.
same as in a fight, right? And if you learn how to navigate through the ups and downs with ease, then you will have a good life, in my opinion. You just need to learn how to navigate through the ups and downs with ease and with a smile on your face, and remembering always that whatever happened to you or happens to you is not anyone else's fault. You don't have to take your anger out on other people. You don't have to, you still have to be kind and honest in the end of the day and navigate through life with ease. And I think fighting teaches you that because it teaches you the discipline.
It definitely does, because also the people in the modern world nowadays, you can be anything. Like you can be a horse if you want to. You can identify yourself as a girl when you're a man.
Yeah.
And when you say that, it's okay to be fat. It's okay to have weird thoughts. That's when you get like school shooters. That's when you get rapists. Like that's where you get all these scary men who can do anything they want. Because the modern world nowadays teaches you it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel anger and not be able to control yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Thai boxing and in general fight sports teaches you. Because then it's not only about training and doing something you don't want to, but it's about the way the trainer speaks to you. About maybe, what we're doing right now is getting our anger out maybe. What we're doing right now is about teaching how to fight.
Yeah.
But we also need to say that you don't do this in street fights. You don't, just because you can, don't go over to someone and punch them in the head just because you can.
Exactly. I think when people practice any kind of martial art, they need to do it for the right reasons. Like you said earlier, you know, you need to want to better yourself, better your own discipline, but not go there for the wrong reasons. You shouldn't have you shouldn't think about doing harm to others. That's not why the sports are there. That's not why you should go to practice a sport.
No, not at all.
No.
That would just lead in chaos actually.
Yes.
But I think also the reason why the modern world is going so crazy right now is also because people are starting to look at all the martial arts and think that it's crazy and it's violence and it's stupid and it's a waste of time. And I think that's why people are going so crazy nowadays, because there's no discipline anymore.
No,
also
there isn't.
If I get when I get a baby, if it starts, I don't know, I'm not a dad yet, but I think maybe I could teach my son this if I get a boy. If the baby starts crying, maybe just let it cry, because if you or if it's hungry, then give it food, obviously. Or if it's wants sleep, but if it's just crying for no reason, just let it cry, because you will show it that nothing will happen about crying.
Yes.
Like it wouldn't help you at all. So stop crying and just do some work instead, or think of other things.
For sure, we live in a society where weakness is kind of maybe not promoted, but forced upon certain parts of the society.
Yeah, I would actually, to this degree, I would actually say it's more forced than promote.
Yeah.
Because if you're not weak, then people are looking at you differently.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Maybe sometimes because they're jealous.
Yeah.
Or sometimes because they just can't see the good thing in it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to.
But I think, you know, the reason why it's happening comes down to many different things. I think in general, throughout history, there were cycles, right? We went through different cycles, and actually, my screensaver at work, my laptop, there are two arrows like this, and it says hard times create. No, how was it? So yeah, hard times create weak men who then create. Yes.
I think I've heard it before actually.
Yeah.
It's weak men create. No, I don't know. But
No, it's weak men create hard times, which create hard men who create good times, and the good times then create the weak
that's
men.
so true. That's so true.
This is a cycle that keeps happening, right? So I think we reached a point where we have it very well. A lot of people have it very well, and that's where people found comfort.
Yeah,
That's where
too much comfort.
exactly, and that's why I keep saying that people should always try to step out of their comfort zone, because it's the only thing that will keep us sane, and it's the only thing that will help us thrive as in the society.
Also, I think also I'm a little bit religious man. I'm a Christian, and I think that the world needs God a little bit. Not just like I don't think it's too important to think there is a God, but just the thing that God teaches, like karma and being good to other people, and you will get rewarded by doing hard work. People do not believe in God anymore. People are ashamed of God, and I think also the world needs God, and also Thai boxing. And I don't know if you've seen the guy on the internet called Andrew Tate.
Yes.
Yes,
I think he identified a certain audience, which he's using to grow his own likeness,
yes,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
You know, so for example, what a lot of people don't know, and that's actually one of the things that I don't like, and that make me don't like him at all. There's a certain reason why he lives in Romania. I'm personally from Romania, so what he does in Romania really bothers me. For example, so he's preaching all day about yes, go train, do this, be religious, be. In the same time, you know how he's making his money in reality, where he has all this money from. He's working with the underworld in Romania with the gangs, right? And they run a huge gambling business. So how can you sit there and preach about how God is super important, but you make your money by ripping other people off, by scamming other people, basically, right? I know I know they say that, yeah, but it's the people's fault who go there, right? It's because he owns
but
huge...
that's not very religious.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I don't believe that. Like I don't know him that much. I just learned what he says about being religious and hard work. So nothing bad has happened to me. Like he haven't teach me any violence and stuff. But I don't know about the whole scam thing. Actually, I was in his university once, and it was okay. Like it wasn't a scam, but I was only in there for 2 months, so I didn't learn very much. But there was things to learn, and there was a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he's making money from and stuff like that. I just know like the things he says I like, but the whole thing about people think that he's raping girls and forcing girls to be with them. I don't believe in that because of the things he says, and I've watched so much of him. I just couldn't believe him doing it that way.
Yeah.
Also, I can see that in the beginning when he came to the internet, he was like screaming a lot at the camera and making a lot of jokes about women that people took too seriously, that he didn't mean that. That was just his humor. So that's also one of the reasons why, like, I hated him in the beginning, but then I started watching more and more, and I learned from it. I wouldn't maybe take money advice from him. Also, I know that if you want to learn about money, maybe don't do it from a teacher, but do it with someone that has money or have experience. Like you say in a Thai boxing, learn from someone with experience.
And you know, I'm the kind of guy, I always give credit where it is due. And for example, I will never deny he's a good fighter. I think he can fight for sure.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, and I haven't achieved the levels that he achieved in the sport, right? He used to be a world champion at some point in kickboxing, and that's a very hard thing to do. So he definitely is a good fighter, but I'm just not a fan of someone preaching about for me, he's a hypocrite, right? Because you cannot preach about the importance of God and the importance of training, but in the same time you run a casino business where people might lose their lives, right? So, for example, gambling is a huge problem in Romania. The gambling addiction.
That's why he's in Romania.
Yes.
Because people do gamble there.
Yes, there's a lot of people who gamble, and people are addicted to gambling. I know personally people who have lost maybe their apartments or their cars or their families because of gambling. And I just find it very hypocritical to sit and preach about God and about training and how you want to make people better, but in the same time they come to your casinos and spend their money that might hurt their families or their own well-being.
Yes, yes.
And their, and you're okay with that.
I agree, but also if you do that stuff, just have run. I don't know about his business, but if he's running a gambling business, that's just weird. Because if he has been a world champion at kickboxing and he's so disciplined and believes in God, how could he ever do that? Like,
Yes, but
that's the thing.
That's one of the things he will not admit to, and he's doing it in a very smart way because, as I said, he's using the gangs from Romania. So there's nothing on his name, basically. There's nothing on his name. But actually, you can Google this yourself. If you try to Google Las Vegas casinos from Romania, and then look up, you can look at his house. You will see that his house is built from the same materials that the casinos are built from.
What?
Yeah, you will see that. Just try to look up Las Vegas casinos in Romania, Las Vegas betting houses in Romania, and then look up Andrew Tate's house, and you will see that it's exactly the same material that is on the casinos. So
Yes, that's crazy to think about.
yeah,
Also, I think that also the news sometimes lie about him, but also sometimes it doesn't. Like I don't know what to believe in when I watch news, because I know
Yeah.
the news lies a lot.
of course.
The whole thing about him raping girls, I think, was taken too far, because there was no evidence, there was no girls. People were just saying that because they didn't like him. I think that I heard a story about the police calling girls, or like not police, someone who was deep in the government, calling girls who has been with him and saying that if you have a bad story about Andrew Tate, we pay you $30,000.
I think that the reason why they tried to push this agenda so much, it's because they know about the gambling business. They know about all the illegal things he's doing while residing in Romania, and they needed something to catch him with, but they cannot tie his name to anything because, as I said, he's smart about it. So he's gonna use the gangs, and he's not gonna have anything on his own name. So it's very hard for the police and for anyone to prove anything. So they needed a reason to catch him and to indict him for something.
So that
And
he knows
then they fabricated maybe this reason, or they tried to, because that's one thing about men in this world. If you as a man are ever accused of doing anything harmful to a woman, that's something you will never be able to clear for the rest of your life.
Mm.
It doesn't. So, for example,
If I ever
you're-
hurt a woman, I would never be in myself ever again.
Yeah.
The same way I was before.
No, and not only that, but it's not about hurting. It's about only the fact that someone hears that. For example, if a man is accused of rape or accused of causing harm to women, it doesn't matter if in the end of the day that decision is proved to be wrong. So, for example, there have been cases, even Cristiano Ronaldo at some point was accused of raping someone. It was completely proven that it was wrong, and he never even touched that woman. But the scandals never went away from the news. You will always know that, okay, he was accused at some point in his life of this, right? So
And he will always could look back and think some people might believe in this.
exactly. It's something that you will not be able to change. And
I think they do that so many times with famous people.
Yeah.
Also Michael Jackson.
yeah,
They accused him of raping kids and
Yeah.
so, and we never know if it's true.
No.
But we can just say if we believe in him or not. But maybe that was also just they used this vaping thing, because that's the most wrong thing you can do as a man.
Yeah.
So that they make people don't like him, so that everyone believes in it, and maybe the judge always also believes in the other thing they want to accuse him for. And they do that a lot to Cristiano Ronaldo and Michael Jackson. I don't know why they do it, but maybe it's just because it's the worst thing you can do as a
Exactly.
man. They never do it to women.
In the media, it's the worst thing you can do to a man, because if you portray someone as a rapist or as a person who's doing any kind of harm, physical harm to women, uh, domestic violence, whatever you would like, regardless of you clearing your name, if anyone has ever heard that you were accused in the first place, it will not matter if you cleared your name or not. It will not matter that you were proven not guilty. It will not matter. Just the fact that it was out there will make some people believe that you might be, a rapist. You might cause harm to women. You might do domestic violence.
There will be rumors.
Exactly. And there will be people who will never hear the part of you clearing your name or you being proven to be not guilty, right? There will be certain people who will only hear the first part. So I think in general, when this kind of story is promoted in the media, it can ruin people's lives. So
yes.
So right, this is actually me stepping out of my comfort zone, because I don't really like being filmed. I don't really like being recorded. I don't like to see my face out there. I don't like to, you can see from my social media activity,
You're a very private person.
Yeah, I'm not posting a lot. I might post some pictures when I go on holiday somewhere, but in general, I'm not posting statuses. I don't share clips. I'm just kind of, closing in myself.
This is just the beginning, actually, of me, just because I also want to be a successful man. This is just my beginning. Maybe in 5 months I wouldn't do podcasts, but I also want to be successful in some way. I don't want, if I can become successful without being famous, I would want that. But I don't need to be famous, I don't need to be an influencer. But if that's the way, I will go the way. But I will never sell my soul.
Yeah.
But that's actually quite amazing that you're doing this just for stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's also me. It's like sometimes I just need to challenge myself, because I know it's not bad, but I don't like it and I don't want to fear.
Yeah.
The less you fear, the better you be.
Yeah. That's correct. That's true.
But also you need to fear some things, because some things it would just be weird if you doesn't fear, like also going into a fight. If you doesn't fear that, you're just crazy.
Yeah. And you talked earlier about, or you mentioned earlier about God not being present in people's lives, and religion not being present in people's lives anymore, and that, moving the society down, taking the society on a path that is maybe not the best for us. I think that the reason why God is important to people, or religion is important to people, is that it makes them humble, right?
Yes.
I think we live in a world where too many people think that we are the center of the universe, and that's actually not true. If you look at the universe, since what we think, when we think it started, until now, it's like basically lighting up a match and waiting for it to burn out. It's 2-3 seconds. We are such a small part of the universe, and
the universe is so big.
Exactly.
I believe there's something else than us out there. Also, I believe, I actually do believe a little bit in ghosts, because there's so many videos and stories that were told. Also, my girlfriend told me a lot of stories that she's been experienced, that I also experienced.
Yeah.
About like dogs looking at a door and stuff like that. It's crazy, and I do believe that there is something out there in the universe.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. Like, you can't believe that we're in the center of the universe, because we're not. We're just a little thing, and the best you can do is get the best life as possible.
Exactly.
And get so much good karma around you that people cannot hurt you.
I said in the beginning of the podcast, I'm 29 now, so I kind of been through all the periods, right? I grew up also as a Christian. I'm a Catholic, actually. My family is quite religious, so we grew up in an environment where we were surrounded by religion. So we did go to church on Sundays and stuff like that. For example, my father used to help out in the church. I'm not sure what the word is called in English, but he was kind of a helper in the church, right? So a lot of times he would be cooking for the priests, and if the church had different events, he would go out of his ways to just, make sure that the people get food and the event goes well and so on. So we did grow up surrounded by religion. So after 18, after moving to Denmark, actually I went far from religion. I kind of became an atheist, if you want. I didn't believe in anything and in anyone. I went through that period where I thought that yes, we humans are the center of the universe, and I thought everything can be explained by science and everything can be, we have answers for everything. But then again, certain experiences made me go back again and reflect and say, okay, there has to be something out there, because there's so many things that we don't have an answer for. So for example, when the universe started, what is out there? Why are we on a floating globe that turns spins
It's
on
crazy.
its own, but it
Why?
also spins again around another sphere, so
I think it doesn't really matter what religion you believe in, but I think it's good to be religious. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim or if you're Catholic or if you're Christian.
Yeah.
If you just believe in God, like every God teaches some good.
Exactly.
So it's just a good thing to believe in. And I've experienced that. I believe in the thing about hard work, good karma, right? I've experienced so many times, like if there was maybe 2 weeks where I didn't go training,
Yeah.
I got bad luck in my spare time.
Yeah.
But when I started training, everything went well for me in my spare time.
Yeah.
Like everything to friendship and money and all this.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened to me when I was doing my work.
Exactly.
But the second I stopped doing work, that's when bad things happened to me.
Yeah.
That's why I believe in God, because I can't believe it. Because I can't believe that if I just sit and do nothing, that nothing bad happens to me. That's just, it's awful for me to think about that some people can just sit and do nothing and nothing bad will happen to them.
Yeah.
They will not get punished.
Yeah, and that's where religion, is very helpful. And I think I can agree with the fact that maybe not everyone needs religion necessarily, because they can, be humble enough and without it. But I think if you look at the 8 billion people that there are right now in the world, a huge majority of them are way better off with religion than without religion, right?
Also, you're just happier with religion, some
Yes.
people.
Yes, I think it's important that, a lot of people are taught to be humble and to think that we are not the center of the universe and there's other things out there. And I think the only bad part, if you want, about religion is when it's taken too extremely. So, for example, if you think that your religion is the only one that is the right one and everyone else's religion is a lie, I think that's wrong, because that's actually taught also in religion, that you should accept other people, you shouldn't judge, you shouldn't, right? So
yeah, and I think that's a good place to stop this podcast. And I think we had a good talk, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and I just see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.